Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. And I hope this week and this new year has started really well for you. So I'd like you now to come on in, take a seat, plump up those cushions and let's have a little bit of a crafty catch up. Now today I thought we'd do quite a simplish design. And it's a smaller design. I know quite a few of you have asked for smaller designs. But I'm thinking I've chosen this one for two reasons. One, often in January, especially if we've had a break over Christmas and New Year, sometimes it's a bit hard to get back into crafting. Or if you've been a bit unwell, or a few of you have actually messaged and said you've taken a break for a while. So I thought this was a lovely little project for you to get started with. But also, sometimes in January, it can be a bit of a downer, especially after, Christmas, New Year, all the excitement. But if you're not feeling well, if the weather's bad, and I thought this would be a nice little card, a nice little design that you could send to somebody. And the idea behind this is I'm thinking, look, we've got teapot, steam coming out, and I'm thinking this could be a nice pick-me-up card. And you could maybe put a tea bag inside and, put a little message like, have a brew on me. And so for those of you in America, I know it doesn't mean beer or something in America. Here I'm thinking a cup of tea. Now, it might be, your friend likes flavoured tea or herbal teas, and you could put a herbal tea bag in or a coffee pod or, maybe if you want to send them a little voucher for the favourite coffee shop. But it's just something, a little pick-me-up. And I just thought it would be a nice idea for a friend. Maybe you could pop some bath salts inside. You know what I'm thinking. Just in January, sometimes we need a bit of a pick-me-up. But it would also make a lovely birthday card. Now, you could put flowers here. You could, take it to however you want, change the colours up. But the main idea, that's what I'm going off. So I've started with a piece of card, and this is the B7. As you know, I really love this size. And it still amazes me, look, how much you can fit on a B7 piece of card. And I'm going to start with my stamping. Now, it might be you want to change the stamps up a bit, and that's fine. It's all about just giving you inspiration to get started, just in case you need it. Now, this is the tea leaf dwelling. And I'm going to come in with my VersaFine Clay, and I'm just going to use the black, the Nocturne. Oh, where did that come from? Well, it's gone again. Wherever it came from, it's gone back. And we'll just stamp up. Now, I've just got a bit of ink on my block, and I need to wipe that off, because if I don't, I know I'll get it on my white card. And I'm just going to put this about here, because I need room to put that steam. Now, I have to say, it did remind me, I'm thinking of Panto time with a certain Aladdin and his lamp. And I did think, really, I need a genie popping out of here, don't I? But I'm going to use the magical mist. So that's my genie. And I'm keeping with the same colour. And I'm just going to pop the end of the stamp sort of there. And if you've just sort of got it right, you'll just have enough room, look, for it to fit in there. And then the sentiment, I've gone for one off the heartfelt verses. Now, I've gone for just for you, but we've also got with love. Now, if this was a birthday card, maybe you could add some nice cake. You could obviously put the birthday greeting. So just for you, and I'm just going to see if we can just... Now, again, if you're not sure, because I'm not sure where this one... I'm just going to use my acetate, look. Now, will it fit in there? Yes, I think we can. Well, if we're careful, this will be interesting, won't it? Let's see. I might have to stand up for this. If I can get just right at the top, there we go. Just. There's a reason it's called Just For You. And then I'm going to come in with a sentiment stamp, and this is the Forbidden Secrets. And if you notice, I always draw an arrow on the back of my sentiment stamps, just so that I don't stamp them upside down. And for this, I'm going to come in with Morning Mist, but I'm going to use second generation. And I always test this on my copy paper. So if you're not sure what second generation, first is when we've inked up and we do our first stamping, but I think that's too strong. On the finished design, I want it to be there, but just in the background. Does that make sense? If it wasn't there, I think it would look like there was something missing. So if I just stamp again and we don't ink up, that gives us second, and I prefer second. So I'll come in again, and did I tell you this is Morning Mist? So it's a lovely grey colour, but I still want second. So I'm stamping off first here, and I'll put my first stamp just sort of in the middle here. And I tend to start with that one. Now it might be if you've got a tag, if you're doing, or you've got a page in your journal, this first generation, you could pop on that page or on a tag, just so you don't waste it. But you have to just remind yourself to do that first generation there. And that way I've got it in a sort of diagonal across look. But for me, I find it easy to do the middle one first and then above and below. Now I'm going to give that a blot because it's a slower drying ink, our VersaFine Clair. So it's always worth blotting it because you don't want to smudge it when we add this lovely stencil work. So what I thought is, again, to make that sort of look of the mist coming out, I've gone for one of our stencils, and this is Leaf Trails, and I just thought it sort of mimicked that shape there. So what I'm going to do is come in with some blue Atoll ink, and I'm just going to lift some from the lid. And I really just want it above, sort of where we've got our steam or our magical genie coming out here. And if I'm not sure how it looks, look, I can lift this up. Yeah, just a little bit more. I'm not adding any more ink. I'm just going to go over where I've added that ink. But instead of a tickle, I'm coming in a little bit firmer. And then lift up again. Yes, that's perfect. So that I'm going to save and spritz and put in my journal. Now I like that, and I don't want to do it right across, but just to give balance, what I am going to do is come in with my mini hill mask and just put a bit of grounding here. And again, just pick a little bit of ink up and just blend it in the lid. And I'm just nipping the brush so I can get a nice shape. And that just gives a nice balance with having the colour above and below. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of colour here. And I've got my Mondelez pencils here, and we've got numbers 16, 30, 20, and 5. Now again, you can choose any colours you wish. So all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of colour. And again, with these, I find a nice light colouring. You don't need to press very hard. So I'm just going to add some brown on the handle, and then just on this lovely wooden door here, a little bit more. And again, I'm thinking of sort of balance and colours going. I don't want to introduce too many different colours. And I tend to hold my pencils in my hand here. It's funny, I tend not to put them on the table. I've probably said this before, because I worry about them rolling onto the floor and the lead inside breaking. But also, it's almost a speed thing and a comfort thing. I feel when I'm colouring, it's easier just to pick them up and put them down, just in and out of my hand. So we'll just add, just going for a little bit of this orange. And again, you'll decide on how you want to colour this. Now, I want to add blue. I want this teapot to be blue. So with the darker blue, I'm just going to come in and sort of add a bit of where I think there'll be shade. So obviously either side here, and then just along. And it sort of emphasises that neck. And if you look, Tracy's put dots, there's little dots here where you would have that shade. So down these sides, look, where we've got the shade. And then at the base here. And then on this side. Again, just to give that bit of shape. Then I'm going to come in with my lighter colour and go over the darker blue, but add some light blue and just blend. Now I'm not going to worry about over blending. Now these are water reactive pencils, so you can come in with a water brush and blend it. You can also use the white pencil to blend. But you know me, I like my clear Wink of Stella just to do a bit of wink of colouring, just adds a little bit of shimmer. But what it means on these areas, I can be quite speedy with my colouring. So if I come in, look, now this is the clear. Now don't worry, if it has, look at this, it's got a silvery tinge. Can you see? Don't worry, it is clear. I know some of them sort of have a goldy tinge or a silvery tinge, but this is beautiful and clear. If you're not sure, just try a little bit first. And again, my little tip here is I'm going to do this orange and the brown first. And then, look on my kitchen roll, just clean my nib because you will get a little bit of that colour. And then I'm just going to go into the blue and just blend. And you see how it just fills this space, blends the colours beautifully. So where I've done that speedy colouring, and you were probably thinking, oh, Jo, you've not coloured that very well, you need to go back and do it. Well, my Wink of Stella will finish it off for me. It's very good like that, you know. It blends it beautifully. And especially on a large area, I find it really helps. Now, it might be you want to spend ages and just colour, which is fabulous. Remember, you've got some blue on there, so clean it off on your kitchen roll. For the metal bits, I've gone for the gold, and this is the metallic in the Signo Uniball pens. And so where we've got the gold here, and again, you'll take your time. There's also a lovely copper. You might want to use the copper. I thought we'd have an opulent. And again, you can add a little bit round. And again, you can add, I like this bit here, I like to do that in gold, but it is funny, you need quite a steady hand. So you'll take your time, yours will be much nicer than mine. And then it's up to you, but what I did here, I just dotted, just sort of to give that idea here, add a little bit of gold. And you really just want the whole design to pull together so you get that lovely cohesive design. So although it's a small card, we're going to have a lot of design, but we've also got open space. And that will help it to give a nice classy effect without being over the top. It won't look like you've thrown everything at it. But you see how we've got the lovely, and it's amazing for me, it's the little finishing touches. So we'll add a little bit of grounding here, just a little bit of shadow with a pastel pencil. And then I'm just going to blend that. Just a little bit of shading there. And again, I'm just using the black in the pastel. And you see the difference, it just finishes it. As I say, it's these little finishing tricks. And again, to balance that black, I'm going to add one of our sentiments. This is our sentiment stickers, and we've got some lovely ones on here. On the original, I've put and breathe. Now, we've got lots. I mean, it could be somebody needs to clear the mind, rest. We've got feed your soul. Now, that would be a good one. But I'm actually going to go for quiet time because I'm going to send this to somebody who needs to just chill and have a little bit of quiet time. And again, I tend to put mine on my scissors, look. And I like that sort of, that shape again. We're keeping with that diagonal. And remember, these stickers come in black, white and a vintage, but I just think the black goes beautifully. Last little finishing touch, the mangaka. And I find the white in this is really, really good. I'm just going to check it's working on my mat. And then I'm just going to add some little white highlights. Now these will show up even better when the Wink of Stella's dry. Mine's a little bit wet at the minute. But just a couple. I don't want to overcook it with the highlights. And I better just mop that up. Otherwise I'll be putting my hand in that, won't I? So there we go. And I just think will be lovely. Look at that shimmer. And as the Wink of Stella dries, it will dry even better. That shimmer. And I just think, I'm sure you will know somebody who would love a little card like that. Or maybe make some notelets with the general words, you know, so that then they could be used for, it could be a get well card, a new home card. I mean, I'm sure you can think of lots of other designs that you could then use this. But I'm thinking, if somebody sent me this and added a nice little treat for my cheeky brew and biscuit, I'd be absolutely thrilled. So maybe make somebody's day and send a card like this to them, with or without a tea bag. So thanks as always for popping in, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Sleep well, love and hugs from me. Bye for now.